friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. This is the third week in December, so it's time for us to make our birthday card folio of the month. And we're going to be working with Graphic 45's gorgeous new season to celebrate. You know me and my tea and my little birds, so I fell hard for this collection when I saw it. I picked up the 12 by 12. The beautiful florals. I like this print. And then we get into spring, which is these really neon, like, they're not really purples, they're almost like a mulberry and pink. It's kind of a classic Graphic 45 color combination. And then this beautiful floral. Summer is this vibrant watermelon color paired up with sunflowers. And as you can see, there's a teapot and teacups in each season. I love the floral for fall. It's probably my favorite. And I did get an extra one of these. Look at that. So beautiful. And that takes us all the way through. So that is the 12 by 12 collection. I also grabbed the patterns and solids because I thought these colors might be really hard to match with cardstock. So you've got the solid side as well as the print and then the stripes. So that's kind of why I did that. I also got the stickers, which I don't usually do, but again, these are really extra sweet, and I thought they would be a nice addition to the different things we're going to make. I love the journal cards. I'll just show you these really quick, and I'm glad to see these back. These had gone away, but they came back for this collection. So there's the front and there's the back, and I just think they're really, really beautiful all the way through. These are maybe my favorite element. I did grab the 8 by 8 just because a lot of the patterns are a better size for card making. And then frames and tags. I've become very fond of these. They're great layering elements. And then the ephemera pack, which is just loaded with beautiful little images that I know we're going to find lots of ways to use. So for this month, we're going to be working with the winter season papers. So what are we making? How about a really special tea party in a box folio? This is more than just a tea party in a box. There's lots of fun features inside. It measures 6 by 6, and of course we've used the beautiful papers from the winter season to celebrate. Lace on the spine, this cute little tag on the back. Lovely little Rene Bouquet spoon filled with little tiny seed beads. These little doilies I had in my stash. So this is just a really pretty shabby chic project. This opens out, and right off the bat we have fun with a stadium style pop-up feature, which I will show you how to create. Of course, it's tea themed to go with our papers, and then a little tag pocket here on the front. Another little tag and key just for a cute decoration. Over here we have a flap page. This has a magnetic closure and opens out like this and like this and like this. So room in here for photos or little messages. Really fun, a nice little surprise. This opens out, and of course here's the tea party in a box, and then a little sidecar pocket with a couple of, like a little journal card and a little tiny mini folio. I'll show you how to do all of this. If you want to learn, stick around because the tutorial is coming up next. All right, my friends, let's get started building this card folio base. I've got 2 sheets of 110-pound Recollections White Dove cardstock that I've cut to 6 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I scored each of them at 6 and 7. So it looks like a mirror image of each other. We're going to take our adhesive and place it on this flap that's next to that 1-inch spine. And we're going to take this 6-inch piece and line it up of that scored line. And we want this like nice and closed. You want to be able to close it, so make sure you can close it. All right, and now you have this, okay? So bring in one of your offcuts and trim it to 6. Place adhesive just on the top, the right-hand side, and the bottom of our little flap, and adhere this piece. I'm just going to kind of close it like this so that I can line it up nicely over that. And again, we're going just to the right of that scored line. So now we look like this, all right? And you've actually got a little pocket on the inside, okay? So now you're going to cut your liner papers from your patterns and solids so that everything will match up nicely. And I like to go 1/8 of an inch smaller, but if you want 1/4 inch, I'm going to go 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. If you want 1/4 inch borders, then you can go 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and you'll need 4 of those. And then for this little flap, we're going to need a 4 7/8 by 5 7/8. For our spines, we're going to need a 7/8 by 5 7/8, and you're going to need 4 of those. For this inside piece, you're going to cut, and I'm going to do mine contrasting. I'm probably going to do the green stripe here and the blue here. So this is going to be, this is 1 1/2, so we're going to go 1 3/8 by 5 7/8, and for this we're going to go, you just want it to fit kind of inside, we're going to go, we can go 3 1/2 by 5 7/8, okay? And you may have to cut this smaller so that it fits in, because I glued that down. So go ahead and get those cut. These measurements will be in the description box below this video. Before we glue down those liner sheets, I want to show you I've added a little bit of 1/2 inch score tape to the front right hand edge and this back cover on the left, and that's going to be our ribbon closure. So I'm just going to take, this is ivory taffeta from Really Reasonable Ribbon. It's a really good color match for this paper collection, and with all these vibrant blues, we kind of need something, I feel like, a little more neutral to tone things down. I thought about going with a really dark navy, but then I decided that the ivory was really the right choice. So I'm taking about 12 inches, maybe 10 inches. I'd rather have too much ribbon than not enough, because too much ribbon you can trim, and not enough ribbon, you are stuck. So I always err on the side of I cut it too big. All right, and I'm just going to show you, I'm lightly distressing the edges of my paper, And you can use, there's a Tim Holtz paper distresser, but you can also use the edge of your scissors to do this. I'm not like, I don't want to tear. I don't want to, you know, gouge. I just want that little bit of texture on the outside edge. And this is how you do that. All right, so get those cut and distressed, and we'll start putting things together. All right, friends, here's our folio all lined. You can see I did a contrasting on this pocket and got the spines in. So let's set this aside for a minute and go to work on the cover. I don't know why I like to do the card cover, but it kind of sets the tone for me. This is a 5 3/4 inch square of that white Dove cardstock. And then I took this border piece, well, then I took a piece of green and cut it to 5 5/8 and glued it down. And then I took this border piece from the 12 by 12 and I cut it to a height of 5 5/8. And I took this Cluny crocheted lace from Rene Bouquets and stitched it onto the outside edge. There's these little dots that go up the side, and I use that as my guide. So now we're going to begin to build some layers. And I took this image from the 12 by 12. I trimmed it down to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and I put some chipboard, waste chipboard on the back. And we're going to glue this down on the front. I wanted this to have a little dimension on the front. The front is pretty simple, but I think it's going to be very, very elegant and beautiful. So this is going to go, we're going to center this between, in fact, I'm going to move over. I'm using this green, dark green stripe on the outside as my guide to glue this down. All right. Then I've got some fibers from my stash. This is crochet thread. And I want to run this up the side like this. And again, I'm using the edge of my crochet thread as a guide to help me stay straight. I'm going to start by tying just a simple knot. Okay. Then I took these sweet little tea charms. I've got a tea kettle and a little cup and saucer. They're so sweet. And I put these on jump rings, and then I'm going to run one end of my fibers through the opening. So I threaded those through, and I think I want the ends to just hang down, and I'm going to trim them. We'll see. I did tie a sweet little bow to go right here, so maybe I think I'll do that. Just adhere this bow right on top of my knot. Everything's waking up this morning, including me. Last night I had to stop rather abruptly because our oldest granddaughter was in a Christmas musical. So we had the fun of going to watch her perform, which was truly delightful. I'm just going to trim these ends. And you can save these little bits to thread buttons or whatever. All right. you go. I've got a sweet little, tiny little blossom to go right here. So that takes care of that. Then from the ephemera, I took this beautiful but first tea. I'm going to slip this so that the point is in between my two images. And I put chipboard and a layer of foam tape on this. So I'm just going to move those slightly out of the way so that I can line this up and press that down. See how pretty that is with the little teapot and teacup hanging from it? And then I have this little piece from the stickers, and I'm going to put this right here. All right, so that's real sweet. And just put my taffeta bow right here. I'm going to pull the legs back, put the knot into the glue, and then hold it in place with my scissors, and then I can arrange the bow. Around my flowers. It's a really good color match. It's really pretty. Actually, let's tuck it. I love these tucked bows. I know I do them all the time, but I love the way they look. There we go. And I'll fuss that bow. And we're not going to glue this onto our cover yet. We're going to just set this aside. So that is our cover. And let me clear room and we'll go ahead and start working on the inside of this folio. I want to start over here on the left-hand panel where we're going to build a stadium-style pop-up. And you're going to start by cutting a 5 1/8 by 8 1/2 inch. So it's actually 5 by 8 1/2 inch panel of your white Dove cardstock, and you're going to score this at 5 1/4, and then fold it. You're going to line the inside with 4 7/8 by 5 inch green stripe, and you need to cut 2 of these 4 7/8 by 3 1/8 inch blues, whatever ones you want to use. And then we're going to glue this down in the center. And I added a little border on mine just to change it up a little. Okay. Then go into your 8 by 8 and cut out this winter season, this pretty winter season, and we're going to place adhesive along the sides, the bottom, and we actually want to come up to about midway, even slightly higher. We're going to make this a little pocket. Oops, I got ahead of myself, sorry. We want to cut a piece, a border piece, to go along this top edge, which, what did I say that was? 4 7/8. So let me just trim this to 4 7/8. That's 6. So a half and a half. And by doing it this way, you end up with, at least it looks balanced. You don't end up with an off-balance border. So this is going to go down here. So see, January ends up right in the middle, and put it down right there. And now we take our pocket and it's going to go right here in the center. And then find your 2 postage stamps from the 12 by 12 cut apart page. These are going to slip in this little pocket and stick up like this. And that's why we glued halfway up, so that they couldn't fall too far down in. All right, next we're going to build our little scene to go on the inside. I've taken this image from the 12 by 12, the cut apart sheet, and I've glued it down in the center of our flip. And then I want to take this beautiful cardinal and adhere it at the top. Just like this. Okay. Now, go into your blue papers, or green, whichever you prefer. You're going to need a 4x4, a 3x4, and a 2x4. And it doesn't matter which side you use. These are just the little pop-up elements. The 4x4, you're going to score at 1, 2, and 3. You're going to fold on all of your scored lines. And then you're going to take these 2 outside edges and fold them in, sort of like a gatefold. You're going to bring in some score tape. And place it down on each of these flaps. Oops. You don't want to go over onto the opposite flap, okay, because that will make your pop-up not work. And you don't want to go over onto the inside. So I'm just kind of showing you how to do that. I'm going to come in with a little piece of 1/4 inch because I do want these to hold well. I'm going to put a little piece of 1/4 inch on the outside edge of this one, and a little piece of 1/4 inch on the outside edge of this one. All right. So this piece is actually going to be the bottom, all right? And this piece is actually going to adhere up along this side. So I've folded it in half. I have the unfolded side at the top. We're going to peel off our score tape. We're going to line this up so that it's centered and just barely below the fold. And then we're going to fold and press. Now we're going to take the score tape off of this side. And I can see I'm a little crooked. It shifted just a little bit when I folded, but I think we'll be okay. I don't want to try to lift that because if I do, we're going to end up in a mess. So I'm just going to fold this and come down. And you see how you've got this little pop-up step now? Go into your paper stash and trim out this Hello Winter, all right? And this is going to glue down on that 1 inch step right here, just like that. And you can actually take it up a little bit if you want it to be elevated. This is going to be, what this does is it creates a really sweet little seam. All right, and then just close. I want this to be straight, so I'm just checking it against my background. And see, you open it up and there's your first pop-up. Now take this 3/4 inch one and you're just going to do the same thing. Fold on all these scored lines, then fold it so it's like a gatefold, add your score tape, and I'll show you how to place it. It's really not hard. But get your score tape on there. So now for this next one, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to fold this in half now. You want the open end up here. I'm going to put my bottom side down first this time and line it up. The width is the same. Remove my tape and just press that into place. And there's pop-up number 2. And to go on here, I fussy cut this tag and trimmed it down just below the teacup. So we're going to glue that down. Right here, all the way to the edge. And then I fussy cut out these flowers, and I'm going to glue this edge down and tuck these back behind this tag. Whoops, just like that. And flat edges on the bottom are a good thing here because everything's going to stay in place better. I want this tucked back behind the tag, though. I probably should have put that down first. All right. And again, I'm just adjusting to make sure everything is straight. Pressing it down. So there's pop-up number 2. See how fun this is? And then this one is the 1/2 inch, and you're going to do the same thing. Use 1/4 inch score tape on this one. All right, make your little gatefold, put your tape down. So now that you've got your last tier in, take this little 1/2 inch border, trim it to 4 inches wide. Glue it down on the face of your stair step. This is a bunch of fussy cut flowers from the 12 by 12. I just took the bottom right hand corner out and fussy cut out these floral clusters. This is going to go right over here to the edge. Our teapot is going to go right in the middle. And remember, you're just putting your adhesive on these on that bottom edge, because otherwise you'll wreck your pop-up. And then this spoon is going to go just like that. So just the adhesive on this end of the handle. Isn't that fun? So that's our little pop-up. So you want your panel of your heavy white Dove cardstock to be 8 3/4 by 4. And I'll show you how we score it. I did put this piece of the floral banner up here at the top. These are very bold patterns, and I find that a little bit goes a long way. So we're going to score, I said 2.5, 1, 2, 3. There's 3/4 of an inch, and there's 3/4 of an inch. So you're going to score this at 2.5 and 3 1/4 on the bottom, and then on the side you're going to score at 3 1/4 and 1 1/2, and then turn it and score at 3/4 and 1 1/2. So now you have this. You're going to come to this outside edge, and you're going to cut out this outside rectangle completely. And you're going to do that on both sides. I find it's easier to cut if you do your cutting before you fold. Once you've folded, I find it very hard to get a clean cut. Then on this one, on the inside, you're going to cut up, and you're going to cut a skinny triangle out of this corner. So you have this little tab. And you're going to do the same thing over on this side. So now you look like this. Now you can bring in your bone folder and fold on all these scored lines. Notice that I kept our little tabs one solid piece. I didn't fold on those scored lines. So place your pocket face down. Pull these tabs up. Place your adhesive on the tabs. And now these tabs are going to roll in and attach on the bottom of our box. Okay, just like that. See how easy? Then fold this flap up. As you can see, I need to trim this one just a tiny bit. I've got a little overhang here, and I don't want that. Okay. Place adhesive here. Place adhesive here. And press those into place. And I like to take these little clamps to hold everything in place while that glue dries so that everything stays square. My daughter-in-law got these for me at the Dollar Tree, and I love them. I use them all the time. So those are we're just gonna leave those there while those set. I'm gonna come in with my scissor. I'm just gonna cut a narrow triangle out of this top corner. I just think it makes the box look a little more finished, because see, now you can't see the back. So while those corners are drying, now we have a box pocket that is 5 3/4 inches wide, and then we have 3/4 inches on each side. So 5 3/4 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's 7 1/4. So you're going to cut a piece of 7 1/4 inch wide by 2 1/2 plus 1, 2, 3, 3 1/4. So 7 1/4 by 3 1/4 of your floral patterned paper from the 8 by 8 pack. And if you have any little things hanging over the edge, just go ahead and deal with those now. But 7 1/4 by 3 1/4. Put this on your scoring tool and score it 3/4 inch and score at 6 1/2. Turn it this way and score at 2 1/2. So 3/4, 6 1/2, 2 1/2. Bring in your scissors. I'm going to turn it to the back side because I find it easier to find my scored lines this way. I'm going to cut up and cut out a little triangle on each side. And I'm going to fold on my scores. I've got my tabs up. My adhesive goes on the tabs. These fold in, make square corners. Oops, I forgot to fold that side. There we go. Now we can bring in our box pocket, take your clamps off, and this will fit right over the top. You've got this little white line at the top, but we're going to take a border strip and make an accent piece there, okay? So just glue this down. You want to get your glue into the corners and along the creases and then along the front and the bottom. Just take your bone folder and press everything in place so that it's nice and snug. All right. And now we're going to cut a little border strip to go along the top as an accent. Now you're going to put your adhesive on this back flap. And you can use score tape here if you like, or whatever kind of double-sided adhesive. It just needs to be good and strong because otherwise it won't hold. And then center this. You're going to have just a tiny little overhang on either side, but that's how we want it. Make sure you're nice and straight. And then come in with your bone folder and just press that into place. And there's a pretty little box pocket. Over here, I want to take this piece of our border strip that we have left, and our pocket is, I believe, 5 7/8. So we're going to trim this to 5 3/4. And we're going to put this down on the pocket. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful. Love it. In the pocket, from the 8 by 8, this one might be from the 12 by 12, but you want this journal card tucked in there, whichever one it's from. This is a shallow pocket, so you can't do anything too deep in here. This is from the 8 by 8, so that is from the 12 by 12. And I've just cut out this little folio and scored in between the border strip and the images. We're going to put this little teapot image on the front. So just put adhesive on half of it. It's a circle, so it doesn't really matter where you put it. But put this, yeah, right there. And then I'm going to cut a piece of white paper to fit inside here that measures 2.5 by 3 7/8, or maybe even just below the hello winter. Yeah, that's a great idea. So that is, so it's going to be like 3 1/4, 2.5 by 3 1/4. And then you have a little place to add a little note there. So that goes in that pocket, and that finishes that panel. I want to go to work on this flip flap element for the front flap. So I've cut a 4.5 by 11 inch piece of our white Dove cardstock, and I've scored 2 3/4 on this end and 2 3/4 on this end. And what we end up with is a 5.5 inch panel in the center. So on the inside, I've cut this 4 3/8 by 5 3/8 panel of our green, and it's going to go here, but we want to put some little flaps behind it. So these are 4 1/4 by 5, and I've scored a 1/2 inch flap on each side. And we're just going to line these up and glue those flaps behind our green panel before we glue it down onto our paper. So I have 2 of these. It's just kind of a fun, I love interactive features on a birthday card. It makes it feel more like a gift, and I give these cards as gifts. So even though they cost a little more to ship, I don't mind it, because the card is the gift. Just want to make sure I'm lined up here, and that looks good. Then to cover these flaps, these outer flaps from our 12 by 12, I've cut these panels that are 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I'm going to put the floral on this one on the front. I'm going to put the plain one here. Then on the inside, I've cut little 1 1/4 by 3.5 inch strips from my scraps of the 12 by 12 paper. And these are just going to go on these little wings. And this gives you a nice place to add a photo or a note. All right, so these close, and this glues down on that center panel. Just like this. Up top, I have 2 of these patterned pieces. These are cut to, let me see, I think they're 4 3/8 by 2 5/8. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. It's 2 5/8. So this goes here. And this goes here. And these are cut from the 8x8 cut apart page. All right. And you can come back and dress those up with little sayings, but I want to show you how to create this little magnetized closure. So I've got this beautiful image, and I'm going to put my magnet let me see, I want to make sure I have this. Yes. So I'm going to put my magnet on this leaf. All right. I have this blue panel to go on the top. Just like that. Then I'm going to glue the top half of my ephemera piece here. Then I'm going to take this magnet, peel off the liner, put it in place over that magnet, and press it in place on the bottom. And lift. And now I can glue my green striped paper over that, and it will still catch. But it's kind of like magic. You can't really see it. A little tag will go there, and then this whole piece glues onto this flap. It's really fun. All right. So that's really all the mechanisms and things like that. Now and we've decorated the cover together. I just need to add my elements here, some little ephemera pieces and bits and pieces here and there, and this will be finished. All right, friends, here we are, all finished. I love the way this turned out. It is so shabby chic and sweet. I added down here a couple of little tiny crochet doilies and this beautiful little spoon from Renee Bouquets, tied a bow around it and topped it with this little flower, and then added just a few gems here and here. On the spine, I put some more of that Cluny lace, and on the back, I added this tag. On the inside, all finished up now, which I love the way it turned out. Here's our little tag with a key and another little gem right here. Our little postage stamps pull out of the pocket. That's also a great place if you want to tuck in a gift card. Super sweet. The only thing I added was this little teacup right here. So I did 4 3/8 inch strips, and it's about 1 inch wide. And I love the way that finishes this scene off. It's just perfect. So there's that. Over here, more of these little gems, another little tag and key. Here's our flip flap page. I left room here to add a photo. Turn tab, writing space or photo space, a little tag pocket right here. This flips open, another little writing space, and then trimmed this down to fit, and added warm and cozy and the teacups up at the top. So this closes, and then these close. This flips open. Here's our little side pocket with the little tiny note card that I made. I just think this is darling. And a journal card tucked in. So more goodness there. And then our tea party in a box, all the usual suspects, this really beautiful little bookmark that I made by sewing up some scraps, and I matted it with the green pattern on the back, our little handmade envelope with our journal card, and I added a photo space or a message space on the back of that. And of course you can tuck other little things in here, tickets or photos, whatever. And then our little vintage spoon, winter spice tea, honey stick, Ghirardelli chocolate, and a package of Biscoff cookies. So this is a really special, this doesn't have to be birthday because nothing on here says birthday. This could be a terrific get well card. It would work really well for any kind of housewarming or a hostess gift. It's very versatile and very, very special. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to comment and like and share and subscribe. There is no Flower of the Month tutorial for December because Christmas Day is a Wednesday. So I'll be taking that week off, but I'll be back on New Year's Day, which is the very next week. I can't believe how fast 2024 has evaporated, and I'll have a brand new project for us there. I might sneak in Christmas week with a here's what we're working with kind of preview. But I hope you enjoyed our Winter Wonderland theme for December, and I wish you all a very, very merry and happy and joyful Christmas and a blessed new year. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Go get your craft on. Bye.